Ownership has finally changed hands, going from Glenn over to Mark and A-Rod. Any more details on that? I saw you tweeted out. I saw the number. I know the number surprised me. It's still $1.5 billion that they agreed to in 2021, which is crazy after seeing what the Celtics just went for. But any other details with this Timberwolves trade? Ownership
DB,
change.
This. I mean, it really is a trade. It's a trade of Glenn Taylor out after 31 years of ownership, the old guard per se out, and that's something that Minnesota, that market, they've been kind of waiting for this to settle. Will it settle? How will it happen? And Mark Lowry, Alex Rodriguez, they've brought this vibrant energy to that market, and they're fully invested in that market. They have plans to build a new arena. You look at, they hired Tim Connolly, the president of basketball operations there. He was the former president of the Denver Nuggets, who won a championship the year after he left with the team that he constructed, and now he's running things in Minnesota. That's their guy. And what we've seen here around Anthony Edwards, around this young team, Julius Randle has played at a much higher level. He has 3 straight games of 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He's turned it around, and he's become a key member of this team, allowing them to have another playmaker with Anthony Edwards. But it's a totally different vibe with A-Rod and Mark Lowry. And one other thing to keep an eye on, guys, they're going to work to rekindle that relationship with Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett still does not have his number 21 big ticket jersey retired as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves. He refused to get that retired with Glenn Taylor as an owner. Now, I do expect that to change, and I do expect them to have some more conversations on what potential role he could have with that organization, with Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry moving forward. But this is big news for the league. $1.5 billion. You have to give Glenn Taylor a shout out. He bought the team in 1994 for $94 million. He has now sold it, finally, for $1.5 billion. Not a bad come up, even though it took some scraping and clawing to get here.
Yeah, certainly for Glenn Taylor, $94 million in 1994. I assume that was considered a massive amount of money. And then he sells and becomes a billionaire with the sole sale to Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry. Congrats, A-Rod, by the way, former athlete in the business world. We're obviously incredibly pumped for him for that. But that $1.5 billion number seems wild whenever you read it. Now, this was agreed to in 2021, and obviously there was litigation. And that was
heist.
Yeah, okay.
It's a heist.
Could A-Rod and Mark literally put that thing up for sale right now? And they get $3 billion, I'd assume. If you were to go ahead.
No team is selling for less than $3 billion ever again in the NBA. So just right off the bat, that's why, if there was ever a question, there was a lot of chatter in the space. Do they have the money? Do they have this? They've had the money. They've had the money. I think I said it on this show at the start of the season. They've had almost $1 billion sitting in escrow, waiting for Glenn Taylor to cede and relinquish this so they can wire it over to him, and that's still the case. So they have to do that here in the coming weeks. Then they're waiting on the Board of Governors vote, which is all expected to be a formality. But this team, right off bat, with Anthony Edwards in that market, they have control of their arena as well for the next 7-8 years. That's a big aspect of it. And which part?
Come on.
What else they get?
The Minnesota Lynx.
Come on.
And the Minnesota Lynx. Minnesota Timberwolves and Minnesota Lynx.
Okay,
yes, that was in the tweet,
Thank
though.
you.
That was in the tweet.
Yeah.
That was in the tweet.
I just want to make sure we all understand. I just want to make sure we all understand what's happening here.
Oh, don't.
A couple franchises. Hey, a lot of people saying stuff about us. A lot of stuff. Just want to make sure we knew. We knew. Congrats to the Lynx on the new ownership as well. And congrats.
Shout out the Lynx. Nafisa Collier. One of the best WNBA players out there, started Unrivaled, which I think we broke on this show. We talked about on this show. So,
I watched the Vinyl team play.
Yeah, the Vinyl and the Roses.
I watched them play down there. It was good stuff. We were actually going to send somebody down there because we didn't see a lot of. Did we?
No,
not really.
No, we actually saw the Lynx shooting hoops yesterday on Twitter. That was going around again.
Yeah, congrats to all parties here in Minnesota, and we are happy that A-Rod is now the owner of a team.
Pumped.
Okay, because former players getting into ownership, I think, is good, and if they're able to bring back KG into the fold, that's obviously good news for all parties.
Former player, young owner, brings a different energy. Anytime you can bring some youth into it, bring some energy. Minority owner as well. So yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a big moment for the league to have Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry soon to be sworn in as an owner.
They need to think about just putting that thing back up for sale.
Fact.
You know, they need to just think about putting it back up for sale.
Smart.
And double their money easily, seemingly.
Is Washington selling at any point? I know Melo talked about it, but
Yeah, like for a pack of bubble gum, I think is what they're saying.
No, they're really good.
Would that be Bezos? Washington?
Oh,
Maybe.
Or even Harris.
Oh, yeah, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you allowed to? Did he have to sell Sixers to be a part of Commanders?
What about
No,
Kroenke?
no,
No,
he still owns the team.
Oh, you can own. Okay. Anyways, there's people who have a lot of money these days. And owning a sports team is like the thing for all these mega billionaires who own boats that are bigger than that boat that is rolling through the back of Shamsu's shop. They would do that. They would buy, especially with Ant on that team, fresh out of what happened last night. Joker goes for 61 in a loss against the Minnesota Timberwolves with how electrifying that atmosphere was. I know it was in Denver, not Minnesota, but it's like the NBA, I think, is in a good time right now.
Yeah.
Now, there is some conversation around some stars that are currently taking place.